already killed one asshole tonight, and we'll gladly do it again!
Your flesh is unevolved and weak. Perhaps in a few millennia, you will make worthy adversaries. But not today.
What's up, horror fiends? Ricky Grimes back with JR and Joe. We are Three Corners of Horror, brought to you by Horror Fiend TV. Make sure you give us a like. Please subscribe, share with all your friends. We would greatly appreciate that. Today, we're going to have a bit of a different video. We're going to have a bit more fun with this one. It's kind of loony, crazy. It's out there. It's not for everybody, but it is in the genre. Sci-fi horror-ish, what you guys say, right? Sci-fi horror, a little...
Yeah, it's a little more sci-fi horror
comedy.
Yeah. So it's a little different. We're talking about Psycho Goreman. This film is directed by Steven Kostransky, best known for The Void and Manborg. I don't know if any of you guys ever seen Manborg, but yeah, it's an older film. Also, he did the Biocop trailer too. But this film is available on Shudder. Astron 6 is the guys who came up with this film. It's a collective of independent filmmakers who specialize in heavy practical makeup effects, as you will see in this film here. So let's get started. GR, why don't you get us going? Tell us the basic, premise of the film, and get us to know the two characters right away, real quick.
Well, right off the bat, we get this whole narration at the beginning, a lot of foreshadowing of where things to come, especially when it comes to Psycho Goreman. But right off the bat, we get this stark narration about this, this evil that's been basically in prison, and eventually is going to come out. And who's the two that bring them out? These two characters here. Right off the bat, they're playing a backyard game, and you get this whole 80s type feel to this movie from the get-go. It kind of reminded me a little bit of if it was compared to some movies like Toxic Avenger. With the kind of comedy it is. But yeah, they're playing in the backyard, this game, and Joe discussed the characters, but basically, Luke loses. He has to dig a ditch. Basically, he has to bury himself. Yeah. And they find this object, and when they pull the object out, little do they know that basically they release this guy. So that's basically the premise right from the get-go. G. Goreman.
Or better known as, what is he? The Archduke of Nightmares.
The Archduke of Nightmares.
So Joe, talk us through what's your opinions on the the setup and the two characters we got going here.
Well, I was hoping it was gonna be more like Pumpkinhead. I read a little bit about the girl fighting a stone and controlling it, so I thought it was gonna be like Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, that's a good show.
And it was not, and I couldn't halfway through. I couldn't tell if it was trying to be funny or serious, unless the humor was intentional or just bad acting.
It took you halfway through to realize that? Oh, Joe.
No, I do it from the beginning. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like, really? So is this gonna be like a humor? So off the bat, you are introduced to Mimi. She's the bully of she's a little sister, but she's a little bit of a mean girl. Mm-hmm. Honestly, she was a little bitch. I could not stand this girl. There's one of the reasons I disliked the movie was just because her and her acting. And then her brother Luke is the one that is the nice, sensible, the bully brother. So like the only thing I can pull from the movie, it's the impulsive versus the responsible dynamic between the two of them.
A couple things about the film. It takes place in the 90s. This film, and the music you alluded to, GR, definitely screamed. I don't know, Power Rangers, that 90s rock. That's exactly what it was trying to go for. Mimi is as a character. You said the acting was bad. I think she did a good job, but the writing for her was just horrid. Yes. And I think now look at this. I'm gonna just let it out right now. She ruined the film for me. A movie has to have a character you like. I love PG, but she was intolerable. I couldn't. We'll get to that, but
I'm glad I wasn't the only one who felt that way.
Horrible. Just her weird. just the writing in general. That's how they wanted her to act. She did a good job with what she was given. Wasn't for me though, but PG was for me. I love the character of Psycho Gorman. Joe, why don't you? I know we're on different spectrums on this type of film, but you could appreciate at least a good character when you see one, right? Right.
I mean, I guess I I guess it's the practical effects. I couldn't get past the practical effects from it. I guess something like this, I would have a little bit more CGI for him. However, it was cool. I didn't completely hate the movie. For me, I'm explaining a crazy horror story. So like PG was enslaved by a religious order known as the Templars. He finds the gem of Praxedis. I mean, is this like a Marvel comic book? That imbues him with a ton of power, and then he creates an army to fight the Templars, and then he starts a Thanos-type destruction, going through the universes until he's defeated by the Planetary Alliance and imprisoned on Earth. That is pretty much
that's it. That's his whole reason for being is just to murder everyone within the galaxy. Yeah. What'd you think of PG?
I thought it was cool. I liked the whole dark character that kind of gets shut down by the little girl. I thought I agree.
I do like the
writing wasn't the best.
The concept is an old concept, but it could have been so much better if the girl was more likable.
Well, she was really the villain in the film. Let's be honest. She was the villain. I mean, here he is. Like Joe said, he was enslaved. He was, by the Templars, and all he wanted to do was destroy all light in the universe. And then he always had that catchphrase, "You will suffer for eternity." He would tell everybody that. But the contradiction is that the whole time he's suffering with Mimi because she's the one making his life out. I mean, his character, I like the whole dilemma between going dark and, filling this void that, he's looking for at the same time. I mean, there was one scene where they're walking in the woods and he's talking about love and he doesn't know what I'm not meant to have love. I'll never be complete. And then you have Mimi go, love is overrated. His character, I thought his character was pretty good. I mean, if you take his character out of this movie, you can actually make it a separate movie with him. Yeah. I think it'd be great.
Yeah. As the film itself, see, when it comes to the practical effects, just the characters, the silliness. I mean, I knew all that going in, and I enjoyed all of that. There's just a lot of the humor and the human characters really dragged this down for me big time. But Pandora, in the console, I love them. Like that's straight out of Star Wars right there. Like the Cantina scene, or what? Joe, you don't like these characters either, Joe?
It was just. Go ahead.
You don't like Two Man? Well, come on, Two Man is one of the greatest creations.
Yes, I thought about the cantina scene. I thought about the cantina scene, but then I literally just went, like you said, like Power Rangers. Like it was just a collection of Power Ranger villains who are all gathering because their costumes and the way they look like. It just it definitely had Saban. Power Ranger type of feel to it, and like I don't know. I went in this open-minded. My mind just could not accept it or receive it. Like it is as I knew you were gonna love it.
Well, no, I didn't love it.
Well, it was more your alley, as Jared said.
I'm more disappointed because I should have loved it, but it's just too many flaws to drag it down that I can't see myself going back to it and watching it again. But I do appreciate just a group of guys getting into, all right, let's just create the most zaniest characters we could possibly find as far as putting guys in makeup and in costumes and puppets and miniatures. And I appreciate all that. Like the flashback scenes of what's Gygax? What is the planet?
Gygax. Yeah.
The flashback scenes to him, it's all miniatures. None of that's real. It's all miniatures. And just the stop motion animation they use I just love that era of filmmaking, so that touched on me. But GR, now we were on Pandora and her crew, give us a little bit of background into her.
Well, there was two crews in there. There was her crew with the Templars
and the Paladins of the Obsidian.
The Paladins of the Obsidian were PG's army. No, that was PG's army.
Yeah, take whoever you want. Good.
Let's take PG's armies because you guys already talk about the boring Templars. Even though I mean the brain kind of reminded me from Mars Attacks.
There were anything.
Yeah,
There were,
yeah.
Yes, Mars
I mean,
Attacks.
yeah.
I got that in my notes. Yeah.
I have that in
Mars
mind
Attacks.
as my closing thoughts. Like I was watching it, I'm like, really? So the aliens, the Mars Attacks made a little cameo in this? Is this like, you know, a little nod to them? So yeah, definitely.
As
Then
I'm watching
Pandora.
this film, I'm like, the whole time, I'm like, oh, Joe's hating this, and I love it.
And then Pandora reminded me of the newest expansion of World of Warcraft.
Yeah, it did.
Tyrion.
Yes.
I thought that was a Kyrian. I was like,
Good
all right,
call.
these
Good
guys play
call.
World of Warcraft.
Dude, you know when I was watching it, I had in my mind, damn, this design looks really familiar, and
Yeah.
you just hit it on the head. World of Warcraft. Yep.
And then like this is where I was very disappointed. More disappointed in the film is here you guys generals. Their introduction was very short. They go, here they are. Basically, they made a deal with the Templars so they could, you know, rule Gigax. They were happy he was in prison, and then basically they gave him a weak beatdown. I mean for me, I wanted more.
You're right about
them,
that.
And it was just so short lived. Like, all right, here they go. Okay, that's it. They're tuning on them, and that was
They were
it
just
for them.
kicking on this. And the one thing I did not like, they did go to the same joke more than once on multiple occasions within this film. Like in this scene here when they're beating him up, and Death Trapper is the name of the character, but it's just a bucket filled with the bodies of his victims and uses their blood as like ammunition. And it looks dramatic, then it gives you that wide shot giving you what it really looks like. And they did that same technique in the opening film when the brother and sister are playing that game. So yeah, it was funny the first time. The second time, like, okay.
The witch was the coolest looking one. I kind of like
Witchmaster
Yes.
was good. I trust me. I went down. I tracked on all these characters because I love stuff like this, man. Like,
Actually, I like the robot guy.
Cassius 3000,
The one that got then he got his face ripped out.
with the good big googly eyes popping out. Yeah,
he was the only one I found was cool.
like
Yeah.
a hardcore C-3PO.
Yeah.
Well, and I thought of the because he had the little bird
Parrot,
on
the
him,
parrot, yeah,
so
yeah.
it reminded me of that. Like when I saw that, I thought of the owl in oh my god, the original.
Clash of Titans.
Yes.
Clash of Titans.
So yeah, so it was like I saw the robot. I'm like, all right, they didn't give us the parrot, but you know, you've got a robot bird. So that was a little bit of at least what I kind of picked up on that.
All right, well, going back to that high console scene. Now, full disclosure, I was stoned out of my gourd when I saw this film. And when this scene popped up, I wrote it in my notes. I wrote greatest scene ever in a film like this because I'm looking at all these characters interacting, and I know it's meant to be silly, but like I said, I love the practical effects. Two Man deserves his own movie.
The other thing, I don't know if it reminded me of also when seeing them all talk was the Dark Crystal, the Skeksis.
Ooh, Dark Crystal, good call.
Yeah, that's kind of like what, and again, you know, if you're gonna go, you have practical there, and like comparing those two scenes, like the way they interacted, like again, you know, it was just so much that it was a letdown. But there were some scenes through the movie that I actually thought, you know, were funny. And I liked when Mimi brought him the TV and the magazines and apologized for not bringing any porn to him and said, but there's some hunky guys in there. And PG's like, I don't like hunky boys. And he looks at the picture and says, do I?
No, but the way he said it, he's like, it had a long pause.
It did, and he was like, "Or do it." And then in the end, you see when they're fighting that they rip the magazine, and he goes, "Not my hunky boys."
Yeah, that was funny.
Petty displays of wealth. How can your short lifespans allow such narcissism?
Yeah, but look at all the hunky boys.
I do not care for hunky boys. What do I?
And you know, poor Alistair, the little boy. You know, like I liked when he was just, you know, he's walking around. Goes to PG. It was nice to meet you, and he's like, it'd be nicer if you were dead.
It'd be nicer if you were dead.
Yeah, I like that one. What I will say, which this movie already had so much going against it, was the music montage.
Yeah, it's bad.
It made my head explode.
Horrible.
Like
Horrible.
I will admit, I fast forwarded. Like I got through so much of realizing it's a music montage is gonna be silly. I'm just gonna fast forward this part.
Yeah. Joe, JR, so this is a good call. Joe brought up a good discussion. What's your best scene and your least favorite scene?
Honestly, I like the parents. I mean, the whole scene where the father wants to basically close up the hole, and he grabs a shovel. He goes, "Oh, my hand!" Starts fakes the injury, goes inside, and his wife's like, "Oh, I'll take care of it." And later on, he's like, "Baby, I think I'm gonna take some time off of work. It's my hand." And then later on in the film, he high fives PG Gorman, that hand breaks. So the hand he was saying was hurting the whole time broke, which I thought I liked the parents. The parents were pretty good. Like
that actor is part of the Astronaut 6. One of the
I can see that. I can see that.
Like that whole interaction. Yeah. Like when he PG tells Pandora, "Why don't you show your true face?" So they could see who's the face that's gonna keep them in servitude. And the dad goes, "Oh yeah, servitude sounds like being married to you." Talks to the wife. So I mean, their interaction I thought was
they hated each other
good.
pretty much.
Yeah, they were similar to Mimi and Luke, to be honest, because Luke was like his dad, the mother was like Mimi. I mean, they were very similar. So it's just like, I mean, it was hard to find like really, really fun scenes in this one, to be honest. But like my least favorite part was this. I don't like the whole Paladin scene. I just hated that scene. One cool thing they had, which I give them credit for, I thought was pretty cool, was somebody found him good. I'm going to give you honorable death for fighting such honor. And he basically ate them.
That was awesome. The way his jaw unhinged, and that was cool. For me, my favorite. It's hard to pinpoint a favorite right now, like on the spot. But the very end scene, when he's saying his goodbyes, he's you taught me that love is the answer to this and that. Then as soon as the portal opens, just goes in and starts killing everybody. Like I don't know why I laughed my ass off, but my least favorite was before that, when they got into that stupid game, the
dodgeball type.
Yeah, that right there, I was like, that's it. I'm officially checked out, because such a cool character, right? And you got you got Pandora there, but instead of a fight, this is what you do: the comedy and the bad music, and the kids. I hate kids in movies. You guys know this now. When there's kids in films, 9 times out of 10, unless it's Stranger Things, they did it right. But I hate kids being the focal point of things. And the kids in this film, especially Mimi, Luke was okay. Mimi dragged the film down for me. But I did love Biocop. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah.
So Biocop, if you don't know, the director made in 2002 made a short film, which was a fake trailer for a fake movie called Biocop. He actually took that character with the same actor 10 years later and threw him into this film. And do you know what I'm talking about, Joe? Do you know?
I haven't.
No, but Biocop in this film, do you know like the cop that he turned into like that? The cop that he turned into like the
one that
he looked like the guy for Robocop.
That character was from a short film.
Yeah. He made a fake trailer that's a short film, but that movie never came out. That's a joke essentially, And 10 years later, he took the same actor and actually put that character of Biocop in this film as the same exact character. Just something about seeing that zombie melted guy walking around, like it was so stupid, bro.
It was. Because he kept trying to kill himself. He finally was able to get the gun, and I don't think he even got it right.
No, got him. PG took him out of his
got him.
Yeah.
But that even in the beginning, when he took that the very first group he ran into, and that's when he stole the language. And he didn't steal it. What did he assimilated the language?
Yeah.
Anyway, the guy that said, "Please, I don't want to die," he was all right. Well, you'll live forever. And he was like a husk. And he's eyes kept. Then when the kids bumped into him and he tipped over, he's smash it to like 100 different human little pieces. Like, I was like, yes, no CGI, thank you. Let's go into the closing moments here. So we're gonna just finish this off right now. Like, Joe, any other points you want to discuss in this film before we sign off?
I mean, this is yet another Canadian horror movie that we've reviewed, and I've mentioned my infinity for Canadian horror movies.
Yeah.
And this is not one of them.
This movie has an audience. It's not going to hit every box for everybody.
It does. That's a 6.3 on IMDb. So
it's because you know what?
Yeah.
I talked to a buddy of mine who loves this film, but because the film is so out there that people are willing to excuse the flaws on it. I'm not. I don't. This film, I'm gonna tell you right now, I went in with a 4.5, but once it went along and Mimi just kept going and going and going, I dropped it down a full point. I'm gonna give it this a 3.5. That's my final rating for this film.
I'm giving it a 2
because
I made it sound bad. It's not that bad.
No.
So one just Yeah.
What you're saying is not wrong. But what I was gonna say is when I was gonna give it a 4.5, I would give a 4.5 to, let's say, something like, I don't know, like let's say The Fog, for example. John Carpenter's Fog, right? Let's just say I would give that a 4.5. I'll give this a 4.5. I'm not holding them on the same pedestal because they're totally different films.
Oh yeah.
I rate the films on the genre that they're in, comparing it to other films within that same genre. You know, like this and Toxic Avenger, I always prefer something like this.
I like the Toxic Avenger.
How do you like that and not like this?
Because that was made then. That was made then. We're in now. It's 2021. You know, that was in the 80s. So that's where the appreciation still lies for that.
But this is a film that people who love the trauma, people who love like those like Power Rangers and what was the Guyver? Guyver's a good reference point because Guyver was one of the first films that had Power Ranger type like characters as far as costumes and action, but was kind of violent.
It was good too.
It wasn't a kids film, yeah. So that's a predecessor. How about you, JR? What you say? Oh, JR, I'm sorry. What you give it 2?
2.
JR, what you get?
See, this movie, and I'm all about storylines. And I thought that if they would have decided to go on the serious instead of comedy, I think I think it would have been a great movie if they would have went serious. But being that they went to a comedy that was, I'm sorry, it wasn't just funny at all. I mean, I had a hard time finding good moments. Like I said, the parents for me were the best moments as far as comedy. But, you know, Mimi was annoying. Psycho Gorman was freaking wasted. I mean, put this guy in his own film with his own. Give the whole origin film to be a lot better. But for me,
I'll take it. Give me.
For me, I'll tell you what though, I do like the gore in this film because it did remind me of the 80s, 90s, 80s, early 90s gore.
Yeah,
you know, where it was a little bit over the top, but it was meant to be over the top. Like when he pulled that guy's head off. I mean, the two guys. I mean, certain scenes that certain scenes that was meant to be like that. I'm gonna give it a 3. I will go lower, but I do like the Psycho Gorman character. He's the only one that's kind of keeping it up there. I mean, I watched this twice, and after the second time, I was like, man, I could give this like a 0.5.
This didn't need a second viewing for me.
I can't believe you watched it twice.
I'm surprised you watched it twice.
Because I want to see more of Psycho Gorman.
I do.
I watched this after work, and I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I literally could have been asleep right now. I wasted so much precious time on watching this movie. But I watched it early in the morning, too.
This is what I like what we were doing. This movie had 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. And we can't even give it 80%. We can't even give it 6. But that just shows you what kind of horror fans we are. We actually like horror to the point where we know this film could have been a lot better than it truly was. It was just wasted.
Real quick, 2 things in this film. Did you notice the civilian outfit that PG was wearing in this film? And where's it from?
I don't know.
You know, the Hawaiian outfit?
Yes, when it's dressed up with the hat and the shirt and the pants, the khakis.
I don't know where it's from, but it was kind of weird watching.
That's Sam Neill in Jurassic Park. Same exact outfit.
Oh, okay.
Nuh-uh.
Yes, yep. And also, did you guys catch the Phantasm reference? Joe, you would have caught this if you were into the film.
No, I did not.
You watch Phantasm?
I love Phantasm.
Yes, I'm surprised you didn't catch. All right, the scene when the kid is having that dream, and Psycho Gorman's in his dream trying to tell him, listen, your sister's a bully, this and that. And as soon as Psycho Gorman walks in, the first thing he says, boy, you know, it's just like the tall man said. So the kid, the same thing, the kids and Phantasms wakes up to the nightmare. There's zombies on the bed.
Okay.
To a T. So I'm surprised you didn't guess that, Joe.
Well, as you said, I wasn't into the
movie. Checked out. That's all right. I'll give you that. That's to give you that. All right. And just like that, guys, this episode of 3 Corners of Horror is done. I am Ricky Grimes. We got JR. We got Joe. This film had a lot of potential, but unfortunately, it had a lot of flaws that we just couldn't give it to go. Little girl. And Joe and JR knows I love shit like this, and I couldn't get past the girl. And so that's our take on it. But if you love the movie, hit us in the comment section because this movie does got a lot of good stuff going for it. And at least I am looking forward to more PG in the future. But like I said, I'm Ricky Grimes. That's JR. We got Joe. All right, guys. So that's going to do it. Again, please like, share, subscribe. Horror Fiend TV, 3 Corners of Horror. Thank you, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
See ya.
You have fought honorably. So I will give you a warrior's death.
No, please.
The horrors you've just witnessed cannot be unseen.